You're watching The Legal Breakdown. Glenn, we have some news that I think folks have been waiting a long time for, and that is that there has finally been a lawsuit filed against Elon Musk for his actions in Wisconsin that are viewed as him bribing voters there. Can you explain what's happening with this case?
Yeah, Brian, a nonprofit organization in Wisconsin is suing Elon Musk and his super PAC for what they call a, quote, brazen scheme to bribe Wisconsin voters during the state Supreme Court election, which, our viewers may remember was hotly contested. And what was Elon Musk doing? Well, he was basically giving out $100 to anybody who was willing to sign petitions and provide contact information. Yes, I put air quotes around those things. And he was just periodically giving people $1 million checks. Now, Elon Musk will say, well, none of this was buying votes, but it looks like in reality, that's exactly what he was trying to do. And that's why this nonprofit called Wisconsin Democracy Campaign has brought suit against Elon Musk. They're seeking a couple of things. One, they want the courts to bar Elon Musk from ever doing anything like this again in Wisconsin elections. This is, brought under Wisconsin state law. And two, they are asking for damages as allowed by law. Kind of interesting. They haven't asserted that there was any specific amount of money damages that, should be tied to this conduct that they claim is illegal vote buying. So here is the challenge, Brian, because I don't want to give people the impression that this is a laydown winner and Elon Musk is definitely going to lose this lawsuit. Under Wisconsin state law, the state law bars anybody from giving money in excess of $1, which I thought it was interesting that the Wisconsin law sets that ceiling, less than $1. Bars giving money of more than $1 to entice people to either go to the polls, to vote, or to vote for any particular person. So you can already see the defense coming, right? Musk will claim, well, look, I was not paying anybody to encourage them to go to the poll, to vote, or to vote for any particular candidate. I was simply giving them $100 and giving away, $1 million checks a couple of times over to have people sign petitions and provide contact information. But here's the thing, Brian. When Musk first launched this big cash giveaway, he initially said that he would be providing this money in appreciation for people who voted early. Now, that to me sounds like it violates certainly the spirit of the Wisconsin state law, and I would even argue the letter of the Wisconsin state law. Once you're paying people in appreciation for them having voted, it sure sounds like you're paying them to go to the polls and to vote. So what Musk did, apparently, when some lawyers advised, this is probably not a good way to frame your giveaway, he then changed course and started to say, no, it was to sign petitions and provide contact information. So here is the ultimate question, Brian. Will the courts look at form or will they look at substance? Because once you put the word out that you are essentially paying people for having gone to the polls, and you retract that, does that retraction really win the day? Or do we all know what was really going on here? And that is what the courts are going to have to decide.
And so in your estimation, given your 30 years of experience prosecuting cases, what do you think that the plaintiffs are looking at in terms of their chances of success?
It feels like a bit of a coin toss because, I think we all know what was going on here, right? Musk was trying to get people to vote a particular way for a particular Supreme Court candidate. And the fact that he initially framed it in a way that would violate Wisconsin state law, I would argue, hey, no backsies. That word already went out. And people responded. How do we know that?
Right. It's kind of like the thing where the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can then move forward using different verbiage, but hasn't the marker already been laid down? Hasn't it already been made clear what he's trying to do the first time? And then when you say it, and you continue to perpetuate this whole idea, you can use safer language, but it's under the same pretense that it was initially when he used the initial incriminating language, right?
That's exactly right. And those are the arguments that the plaintiff's lawyers will be making. And Brian, I can't help but think of the parallel when Donald Trump spent hours telling people in his pre-insurrection pep rally, your vote was stolen, your election was rigged, your president is being wrongfully taken from you. Fight, fight, fight. You have to fight or you won't have a country anymore. And even his little minion, Rudy Giuliani, said, let's go have trial by combat. And then at the end, Donald Trump said, let's be peaceful. Come on now, you're not fooling anybody. They've been listening to you gin up and inspire violence for hours. And what did they do? They went to the Capitol and perpetrated violence at your urging. So there's a parallel there between, I think, this suit and what we all saw happen on January 6th. I think it's a pretty good argument for the plaintiffs. Now, will it be a winning argument? You know, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that prior to the Supreme Court election in Wisconsin, the Attorney General of Wisconsin brought another civil suit against Musk, seeking a restraining order to try to shut it down, claiming, among other things, this really violated Wisconsin lottery laws, and that was not a winning suit that was brought. This is a different suit. This is a slightly different cause of action based on different facts and circumstances. So there is certainly, I think it's a straight-faced suit, and I think it's one that will be hotly contested in court.
Is it true that if Elon is successful in this case, that would have major implications moving forward, because then it would kind of give him this idea that what he's doing by virtue of just using his unlimited funds to buy up voters is a strategy that could be replicated elsewhere? And granted, I say this with the caveat that it didn't work in Wisconsin, but just because it doesn't work in Wisconsin doesn't mean that A, it can't work elsewhere, and B, that it also doesn't establish a dangerous precedent where somebody can just buy votes for their political party in anywhere in this country.
Exactly right. This suit is being brought in part for the deterrent effect. Because let's play this out.
Right.
Let's assume that the plaintiffs lose. Musk wins. What can he do? He can turn around, announce in a future election, hey, everybody, listen up. I'll be paying you $100 to go to the polls. And then a couple of weeks later, oh, wait a minute, I'm tweaking that. I'll be paying you $100 to sign a petition. Come on now.
Yeah.
We all know that there's form and that there's substance. And the substance of what Musk did certainly seems to violate at least the spirit of that Wisconsin state law.
All right, so Glenn, in terms of the next steps here, what can we expect? When is this thing going to get in front of a courtroom? Where does it start? Like, what court system? Are we looking at state or federal? What can we expect next?
Yeah, so civil litigation like this can move a little bit more slowly than what we've been seeing in recent weeks and months when, you know, petitioners, plaintiffs are sprinting to court to try to get preliminary injunctions or temporary restraining orders. That's when, the urgency of the moment requires a judge to act right now. This isn't seeking any kind of a preliminary injunction or a temporary restraining order to immediately stop Musk from doing anything. This is seeking the court to order that Musk is barred in future elections from doing this. And as we discussed, any money damages that might be allowed by law. So I suspect you're going to see this on a somewhat more leisurely track than some of the other litigation we've been following. First of all, we'll have to await a reply to this lawsuit filed by Musk's lawyers. Then the judge will set an initial hearing in the case. This will be before a Wisconsin state court trial judge. So this is something that we're probably not going to see a lot about in the news for at least a few weeks until we see Musk's response to this lawsuit filed in court.
Glenn, just zooming out to like a 30,000-foot view of this case, is this really going to matter? I mean, this is a civil suit, and so presumably the goal here for the plaintiffs is to try and win some damages. When you're dealing with Elon Musk, he has all of the money in the world, and so even if he loses, isn't that just like the cost of doing business? Isn't that just like the equivalent of him having to like give $1 to somebody? I mean, it's like, putting a $20 parking ticket on his car. It's like that's the equivalent to a normal person of like half of a penny. And so does any of this really matter if we're trying to engage in this type of civil litigation and pull damages from him when he's got more resources than anybody else on the planet?
Brian, it couldn't matter more in my estimation, because it may not hurt Elon Musk financially if he loses this lawsuit, but the goal here is to protect our free and fair elections from, billionaire oligarch types like Musk and others who will forever find ways to try to unfairly interfere and intervene in our elections, and not just elections in Washington, but as we saw in Wisconsin, even state court elections for Supreme Court justices. So it couldn't matter more, fighting for our free and fair elections every day in every way we can, filing lawsuits regardless of whether that will, really hurt Elon Musk financially or not.
Yeah, that's a great point. And finally, let's finish off with this. When the judge in this case rules, let's say it's against Elon Musk, is that going to offer, I understand that a state court at the trial court level is not going to establish some degree of precedent, but will it at least serve as some atmospheric precedent for other judges in other states if and when the same thing happens there? Like there's no doubt in my mind that if Elon has the opportunity to run the same scheme in Pennsylvania or Georgia or North Carolina, that he's going to take advantage of that opportunity. And so if we do see a ruling in favor of the plaintiffs against Elon Musk, in this case in Wisconsin, is that going to be at least some atmospheric precedent that other state judges can look at?
Yeah, Brian, you framed the issue perfectly. It's not legal precedent. No other trial court judge in Wisconsin or any other state will look at the result of this case and say, oh, I'm bound by that because it's legal precedent. It's not legal precedent until it gets up to an appeals court, and the appeals court rules one way or another and sets precedent in the jurisdiction where the appeals court sits. But it will absolutely be what you referred to, what I often refer to, as atmospheric precedent, because what I can promise you is every trial court judge will look to other cases where other trial court judges had to resolve the same or similar issues for guidance on how they applied the law in the context of that case and that state. So, yeah, it will be important. That's why I say, you know what? Every single legal challenge that is brought against the Elon Musks of the world are important, because if we're not fighting on every single front, then I think we are less likely to lose this war for American democracy.
I like how you say that atmospheric precedent is something that I say, as if I didn't just learn it from you, as if like all my like legal jargon didn't just literally come from you.
Brian, you're a heck of a law student in the legal breakdown, classes that we've been giving and, over the course of these many years.
Well, with that said, we will continue to follow along with this case as it relates to Elon Musk and every other legal case that's happening right now in the courts, which really is the front line for our fight against the Trump administration and for our democracy. So for those who are watching right now, if you want to follow along, please make sure to subscribe. The links to both of our channels are right here on the screen. It's the best way to support our work and independent media more broadly. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
And I'm Glenn Kirshner.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown.